Hey friends, this is Marilyn from tarotclarity.com, and I have to start out by saying I have the best subscribers ever and anywhere, for real. The last video I did, which was on, astrology and trying to make sense of it in a tarot deck, if you want to learn more about it, don't listen to me. Read the comments below in the last video I did by my subscribers. Some of them are so incredible, all of them that commented are so incredibly knowledgeable that it's amazing, and not one of them was unkind to me saying, boy, you really are an idiot. Not one. I have the best, I swear I have the best. So if, that video I did was a jumping point or a starting point, to trying to understand how, the significance of astrology when it appears in a tarot deck. But if you really want to understand more, read all the comments in that last video, because I learned a lot from that, Now, the reason I did that video was because, as a creator, I get kind of tired of doing the same old stuff, like political readings or missing people. I mean, I'm happy to do and aid and assist in any way, giving food for thought for when people are missing. So don't get me wrong. But I enjoy going down different rabbit holes, not just to do tarot. I'm a tarot reader. I do it for a living. I do it day in and day out. You know what I'm saying? So I do, keeping myself abreast of things and trying just to learn things, or even if I don't apply it to tarot, just learning new things that are adjacent to tarot. Now, my conclusion with all this astrology stuff is that astrology is not necessary to tarot. I was reading tarot for decades before I concerned myself with, understanding what the tarot things meant on a card. So feel free to ignore the symbols on tarot cards, the astrological symbols on a tarot deck, if you're inclined to, and don't be intimidated by it. The one that I showed you, one of the ones that I showed you yesterday, Tarot of the Holy Light, it seemed more about astrology and a different agenda than it did about tarot. So I kind of don't use that deck. It's beautiful to look at. It can be read as a tarot deck if you disregard, but there's so many notations on it that it really becomes like a star chart instead of a tarot deck. The other one, Fortuna, I was able to understand the connections of some of the notations on that deck. And I know enough now that I can just ignore those notations. It doesn't concern me. And it's not, there aren't so many notations on the Fortuna deck that it becomes a distraction or like overwhelmingly, like I feel like an idiot if I can't understand these things. So that's the messages that I just wanted to impart with you guys. For those of you who, are perplexed by the astrology signs on a tarot deck, feel free to ignore them. Now, one of my commenters, I don't know which one. Oh, see, I should have written it down. I don't know if it was Dee or if it was Holly. But one of them told me that there's like a recent development in, there are multiple practices of astrology, which is what I kind of assumed, because every tarot deck I pick up that has astrology, they don't seem to ever match. That's another thing. It's just that they never match. There's no universal thing for the card, so it's just more trouble than it's worth. But she told me, I think it was a woman, told me that the Living Wheel astrology cards are a good source. Now, I have 2 copies of this deck, but unfortunately the ones that I have date from 2018 and 2020. One I bought on my own, and the other one was like the first Christmas gift I got from my very first grandbaby. It was like the first grandma gift from my grandbaby. But they were both the same. They're published on different dates, but I think the cards are exactly alike. But this subscriber told me that the Living Wheel astrology cards has a newer edition for a 13th constellation that was not included in either of the editions that I have. Now, in understanding basic astrology, I got to start at the basics. You know what I'm saying? And if the system that the ancient Babylonians came up with, and they were aware of the 13th constellation and they chose to ignore it, that's kind of good enough for me. However, the purists out there among you who might want to explore astrology, because maybe I wet your whistle a little bit and you want to explore astrology, there is a 13th constellation that probably everybody on the planet knows about but me. And that it's been incorporated into some philosophy of one branch of astrology, and it may skew what your chart might say. I don't think it, well, maybe, I'm still a Leo, no matter which way we go with it, so I'm fine with leaving it alone. I did my chart last night. I knew what my things were. I had done my chart a long time ago, but this time I actually printed it out. So I have this information. I have no idea what it means. Just looking at it makes me think of like being in high school and math class and going home and crying because what? But I have been able to understand a little bit. And so for this purpose, I'm going to do another video on astrology. And I'll use myself as the guinea pig because I need an example, right? Now, on the top, it's called birth chart with my birth date, my location of birth, the coordinates of where I was born. And then underneath that, it says Placidus, which I presume is the school of astrology that this thing is based on. Then it goes down the list of Sun, Moon, Mercury. So it goes down the list of planets. Now, the one thing that I don't know, and if any of you here have watched into the 6 minutes and 47-second mark, please tell me. Are the houses like first, second, third? Does it always start with Aries, or is my first house Leo? Because I was born a Leo. So is my first house Leo, or is the first house, or does the first house never change? Is the first house always Aries, and what falls in Aries for me would be Leo? You see what I'm asking? So I don't know. But at any rate, I have all these coordinates. So why is that interesting for me? Well, the living wheel chart, the living wheel astrology cards, I used to use routinely when I first got it, and I used it for months until one day I got distracted. I didn't go in my tarot part. I was probably on vacation or something, you know. And when I came back, I was overwhelmed, and I just picked up the cards and put them back in the box, and I didn't continue using them. But what I used them for was like a daily calendar to show what the sun sign was at the moment, what the phase of the moon was, and what season of the year, etc. So I used to use it just as a little calendar to remind me of what was going on in the universe, or in our solar system, not the universe. And then, before I started my video that you saw the other day, I thought I'm going to buy some really inexpensive astrology cards, rather than a book, because cards I like, they're like pages they're pages that have been removed from a book. So this was extremely inexpensive. It's called Set of 100 Cards, Astrology Cards. And it was under $10. It was under $10. So, I mean, even if it was terrible, I figured I'm not investing $80 in a deck that I don't care about. The box, okay, I'm giving a little critique. The box is, not real substantial. It's the thickness and the hardness of the box is a little bit more substantial than a tuck box quality, but it's not like this kind of quality, It's not like that. Then we have 100 cards in order. Let me flip the camera so you can see them. Oh, you know what? I just realized I've never done a video on this deck. I went through my list. I have like 700 videos. I've never done a video on the living wheel, astrology cards. So I can't really do a comparison between them because they're not the same. But I'll do a quick review of each, and I'll start with the living wheel. So let me flip the camera and we will get started. I promise. And I have my chart as a cute little background. So it comes with a booklet, which is extremely helpful. It tells us all the planetary bodies that were included in this system, which I assume is Placidus. It gives us all the constellations, only 12, not the 13th. Then it gives us the houses and what they mean. Now it gives us keywords for every category, so I shouldn't go over that. Like the sun tells us it's about illumination. The moon is reflection. So it gives keywords for every planet, every constellation, every house, and then it gives us the yearly cycle, and it gives us 2 images for each cycle. And if you celebrate or honor the holidays of a, I don't know what to call it, you'll recognize, like the two phases of each season. Okay. And then it gives us the phases of the moon and what they suggest. And then the nodes, which I have no clue what they mean. And then on the back, they give us like ideas for spreads. The only one that probably would interest me is this one, since I do have all my information. However, I don't understand what to put in the first house. Is that Leo that I put in the first house? Or is it Aries that's the first house and Leo that's in it? You see what I'm saying? It doesn't tell me that. But the booklet is, I think, other than that, it's awesome. So I have it in the order of the pamphlet. So we have the sun. Now, the moon card, which would be next, you have to take from the phases of the moon. Okay, so here's the moon. The moon card would be next. They don't have 2 moons for that. So if you wanted to, use the moon card, you just take it from the moon, the phases of the moon. Then we have, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and Chiron. Then we have the signs of the zodiac. So we have the symbols, which is helpful, and then what it looks like for each of them. So it's kind of cool to do it like as a daily calendar, even if since my understanding of astrology is really limited. It was just fun for me to put the phase of the moon, what sign of the zodiac was current, what season of the year. Here we have the houses. Okay, so according to this, there's 12 houses, not 13. It goes all the way. It just shows you the houses, the way it's laid out. And then we have the 2 phases of each season. So we have 2 for winter. And in case you get them out of order, which is really easy to do, look at the disc. So the first for winter would be that one. The second for winter would be the second one. So it makes it really easy to be able to put them in order. The first for spring is here. The second for spring, I got it. The second for spring is there. So you can tell by looking at, if you can't even tell by the picture, in other words, you can tell by the thing on the part, the pie chart on the bottom. So here we have the first of summer, the second of summer. And then we have the first of autumn when the leaves turn color, and the second of autumn when they're off the trees. And then we have the phases of the moon. We have the new moon, the waxing crescent, which also does double duty as the moon card in the other part of the chart I told you about. Then we have the first quarter, which is a half moon, a waxing half moon, I guess you could call it, a waxing gibbous, a full moon, a waning crescent, no, a waning gibbous, excuse me. Then we have the last quarter, then we have the waning gibbous, and then we have a lunar and solar eclipse, and then we have the nodes, north and south, which I don't know what they mean, but I know it makes sense to somebody else. So that's what these cards are. The card stock is awesome. The box is a nice box. It's not going to collapse. The first, wow. Yeah, this is like metallic, slightly metallic. It's not overwhelmingly, glaringly bright and shiny, but you can see flecks of metal, like it's like somewhat metallic. So there's that. So if this interests you, if you're a newbie and you just kind of want to start small and you think that you can learn from this, which I'm glad I have it. You know, I really am glad I have it. There you have it. Now, I have not gone through this deck. Thank God the cards are in order. They're numbered so that if you screw up, you just have to be able to count. So this just tells us a little bit. This tells us the things in our solar system, right? Our planets or moons or whatever. So we have those. The card stock is very, it's what do you want for $10? Let me show you. It's very flexible. Now, it tells us, like for example, randomly, it tells us this is Saturn, authority and maturity. So it gives us keywords. It rules Capricorn, and it co-rules Aquarius. And then it'll give you a little explanation. Saturn shows you areas in your life where you can be organized, methodical, and committed. So it gives a little thing on each of the planets and the moon, which I think is probably really interesting. And it gives it to us for all 12. And it ends with Pisces, okay? Because Aries, I guess, is the first house. But like I said, I don't know if it's the first house when we do our star chart. If Leo would be I don't understand how that. So that's the thing I don't know. Okay, so here we have birth charts. So it says you probably know your sun sign, but this is not the only sign. These cards will help you understand astrology through the use of a birth chart. So maybe this will answer my questions. Birth charts are maps that show the exact placement of the sun, moon, and planets when you were born. To calculate your birth chart, you need to know your birth date, blah, blah, blah. And these are references to create your birth thing. And I don't know if they give you a place where you can, I don't think it gives you a place where you can get the birth chart. I just had it. I don't remember where I went. Let me see if this tells us where AstroSeek. So www.astro-seek.com. So that is where I went for a free printout. So then the first house is always at 9 o'clock and the rest of the houses follow. But it doesn't say if my first house would be Leo, because it still looks like the first house is Aries. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know. Maybe somebody. Okay, birth charts card setup. Okay, the first house, self and personality. Whoops, excuse me. I missed a card. Birth chart houses. So it explains that the houses represent different aspects of your life. So the way I see it is probably like when you do a Celtic cross, for example, or a tarot spread, where each of the positions have positional meaning, and then you reconcile the positional meaning to whatever card, the meaning of whatever card falls on top of it. That's kind of how I understand this. So whatever falls in the first house, you reconcile that with the meaning of the first house. Now, the first house is self and personality. And then whatever's in the second house, third and fourth and fifth, all the way to. So it explains what each of these houses means, you know. Like, so the seventh house is relationships. So what is... Yeah, so I think the fifth house is Leo. Okay, let's see what the fifth house is. I think Leo is the fifth house. Creativity and leisure. Okay, so the fifth house. So this is in the, I guess the houses are in order of Aries and whatever the order is. And then, because I think Leo is the fifth house, and I think creativity and leisure is aptly described by creativity and leisure. 6, 7. So it goes all the way up to the 12th house. And there's, like I said, there's no 13th house here. So this is still a Placidus. So Moon, Zodiac, Aries. So these cards are called Moon, Zodiac. And I guess they describe planets, and I say I'm a little bit confused. Let me see what it say about Moon. No, it doesn't. It doesn't give us an explanation. Moon, Zodiac 1, Aries, Taurus, Gemini. So it lists them: Cancer, Leo, Virgo. So it lists them in order. Oh, okay, so these cards must mean if your moon sign is one of these, this is what it means. Okay, so my sun sign is Leo, and my moon sign is also Leo. So my moon sign is Leo. I need to find a stage to share gifts. Well, I found YouTube. I guess that kind of describes me too a little bit. Okay, so then we have, it moves on to Mercury. Now, whatever Mercury's in. And then it tells you whatever sign is in Mercury. Oh, okay, I get it. So what sign for me is in Mercury? So Mercury is in, I think that's Virgo, right? So Mercury, I'm using myself as the guinea pig. So Mercury is in Virgo. So it says, you're an analytical and love researching. Yes, I do. And presenting your findings. However, you tend to take on too much because you don't think anyone else can do it better. Well, that's not true. There's a lot of people can do everything I do. Somebody else can do it a lot better. I've learned to be humble in my old age. Okay, Jupiter. Okay, let's see what I have in Jupiter. Jupiter, I have Libra in Jupiter. So did they... Huh. So we skipped Venus and Mars. Oh, because I don't have anything. Oh, I don't know. That's weird. So Jupiter, I have Libra and Jupiter. So let's go to Libra. So it's helping me a little bit to understand better. Okay, sharing a two-way exchange through a business partnership or in love will bring you great success, particularly in beauty or design-based careers. Huh. I've always been somebody who really preferred to work alone. I've never been one to say, oh, let's join up and do I do individual, I can do projects with somebody, I can participate in something with somebody, but as far as putting the stamp on something, I prefer to work alone, for sure. I definitely prefer to work alone. Okay, so now we go to Mars. Okay, so they put them in a different order for some reason. Okay, so what's in Mars for me? Mars for me is, I think that's Taurus, right? So Taurus is in Mars. You have a slow, calm, and deliberate way of tackling tasks. It takes a lot for you to get angry. Oh, that's not true. I can get angry. But when you like to tackle the situation head on. Yes, I do. I guess I do have a slow, calm way of tackling tasks. That's true. That's true. But if I see injustice, I lose my caca, you know. So I can go from 0 to 180 kind of fast. I mean, I might not express it outwardly, but I feel it inwardly. Okay, so then the next one, we're now moving on to, what's the next planet? Here we have Venus, okay. And according to this chart, I have Cancer in Venus. Now, I guess that means I don't know what these things mean. Does that mean in the first house? See, this is where I get confused. I don't know what these notations mean here. Okay, so what did I say? In Venus, I have Cancer in the first house. Excuse me, Cancer in the house of Venus or whatever. I said that wrong. I don't think I said it right. So Cancer in Venus. You need to feel a strong emotional connection to your partner. You're very sentimental and love reminiscing about old times. No, I don't. I do not like reminiscing. I move forward. However, I do need to feel a strong emotional connection to my partner. That is very true. I'm extremely sentimental. Oh my God, it's disgusting how sentimental I am. However, I don't look back. If I have an object, for example, if I was given a gift from somebody, from a chapter in my life, I'll cherish that object because I feel like that object imbues the essence or the spirit of the exchange, right? But I can't even look at houses that I lived in on like Zillow or anything like that. Once I leave a house, I can't go back and look at it. I have no interest in seeing what somebody else did to my house. I prefer to remember my house the way it was. And I don't enjoy reminiscing about old times with no. That's not me. I like to move forward and look forward to good, new things happening. Okay, what's the next one? Is Saturn? Okay. So what sign is in Saturn for me? So that's Sagittarius. Okay, so Sagittarius. So I have to find the card first. So you see, I think it kind of makes it idiot-proof, right? I mean, these are kind of helpful. Okay, Sagittarius. You are always up for exploring new places, but need to research them. Oh, yes, thoroughly. Absolutely. Beforehand, absolutely, 100%. I'm not going anywhere unless I know what I'm going to find there. You also tend to focus on one thing at a time, which can make you miss opportunities. Yeah, I do tend to have laser focus. I can see that. Yeah, I'm very methodical. Okay, what's the next one? Saturn. I think we just did Saturn, right? Is that Saturn? Yes. Okay, so we're moving on to Uranus. What do I have in Uranus? Uranus. Leo. Okay. I have Leo in Uranus. You're one of the biggest risk takers you know. Oh my God. Au contraire. You are also very enthusiastic about your ideas and won't stop until they come to fruition. Okay, I can see that. But I am not a risk taker. No. I'll take a calculated risk only. If I'm forced into a situation where I have to take a risk, I will have thought through I'm highly analytical. It's nauseating. It's a curse. It is a curse how analytical I am. My kids and my husband, they're like, oh my God, you're psychic. It's not that I'm psychic. It's because I think through every single possible scenario there can be. And then I latch onto the one that I think is most likely. So I am not a big risk taker. Absolutely not. So they missed the mark on that. Okay, let's see. But the others, yes, I would agree to that. Okay, Pluto. What do I have in Pluto? Pluto. I think that's Virgo again, right? Okay, Virgo is in Pluto. So what's it say? Pluto energy can make you even more of a perfectionist. You're also Very honest. Yes, I am. Honest to a fault. But can be too blunt and call people out on the small things. Huh. Yeah, I do call out BS when I see it. That's for sure. I do tend to be a perfectionist, but I don't think I'm necessarily very honest. I will definitely not say something honest if I think it would hurt another person. I will not say it. I might guide them to consider my perspective, but I would never say, "Oh my God, you're an idiot. That is like so stupid." I would never do anything like that. But as far as like calling people out on the small things, I'm constantly calling my husband out on his stuff, because I got to live with that man. And if he's going to pull BS, I got to pull it right back. What my husband and I are like, I guess it's safe to say we're different generations. He's closer to my parents' generation than he is to mine. So he has what I feel are some antiquated notions. And although he has a very open mind, we could not be together if he was not an open-minded person. But there are some ways where he kind of like, we both fall into our kind of, generational baggage. And, I'm constantly calling him out, and I'm constantly calling myself out too, because I'm constantly looking at myself for those same things. Neptune, what is in Neptune? So, Neptune, I think that's Scorpio, right? I have Scorpio and Neptune. So one thing that I've learned in the past couple of days is to identify the symbols better. Here we go, Scorpio. You may enjoy the dark and find it gives you the space to explore the depths of your knowledge and personality. Absolutely, 100%. I enjoy the dark. I enjoy being by myself. That is for sure. Okay, what's next? Okay, birth charts, symbols. Okay, so there's the birth chart. Those are the symbols. First house planets. So if I have, so this is the first house. If the sun is the first house, and then, so my first house, I think I'm understanding it 32 minutes in. See, that's why I like to do these kinds of videos, because I learn too. It's interesting for me. So that must mean my first house is Leo. So I'm not looking at the first house as Aries and Leo, or Leo and Aries or anything. I'm looking at the first house, house number. Yeah, but then look at this. It says is that house number. What does this mean then? See, that's why it's confusing. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I haven't figured it out. So my sun and moon are both in Leo, which I already discussed. So here are the first house planets and what they mean. So if you have the sun, which I do, I think, right? Because I'm a Leo, and I think that's the sun, right? Yeah. So if you have the sun in the first house, you are positive and like to maintain a good self-image. And then it will tell you, whatever else, whatever sun signs there are, if it's in the first house. Okay, second house, planets. So second house, I don't know what the second house, is that the moon? Is that what this means? I don't know what this means. I don't know what these mean. So I don't know what's in the second house for me. I mean, if it's the moon, you need to have the financial security to feel calm and relax. Absolutely. Whether I'm looking it up properly or not, that does apply to me. If I don't have financial security, I can't relax. Because I've been broken. I don't like it. Okay. Third house. I mean, I don't know. Is this... So this is first, second, third house. So my third house is Virgo. Is that it? My first house. See, I don't understand. This is the first house, but then we have Mercury. I'm not sure what that is. And then the first house. Well, here's Leo. So I guess Leo appears in the first house and it extends to the second house. And this is why it's way above my pay grade. Because my first house doesn't align with the line for the first house. You see what I'm saying? So I guess my first and second houses are in Leo. Maybe that's what it means. So my first and second houses are in Leo. Okay, the third house is Scorpio. Is that it? So if my third house, I don't know. See, I'm lost at this stage, so I don't know. Would it be Mercury? So my third house, Scorpio. No, that's Virgo. Oh, that's Virgo. Okay. So third house, Virgo. And Virgo is in Mercury. Okay, maybe that's it. So where's Mercury? Your mind works quickly and allows you to be fluent with your words. Well, it used to be true when I was young, but I'm starting to get senile, so I'm starting to slow up a little bit. Fourth house planets. So my fourth house is Libra. Is that it? So I don't know if I'm doing, at this stage, I don't know if I'm doing it properly. So I hope one of my wonderful people can tell me. Yeah, I don't see Libra, do you? Oh, so it doesn't have, oh, it shows, that doesn't show sun signs, it shows planets. Okay, so fourth house, Libra. I don't see a planetary thing. So I don't know. I'm lost at this stage here. I don't know. But if you know, then it goes on to the fifth house, the sixth, all the way to the 12th, I presume. So I've lost my understanding at this stage. I don't really know. And then that's it. 12th house planets. So if I can work that kink out so I can understand what I'm supposed to be looking at when it comes to the houses and stuff, I think I could, I think it's interesting, I think it's fun. I think it's really fun. And I think it would be a fun activity to do. And if you're not really familiar with astrology, I mean, I don't think it will help us in any way understand astrology and tarot cards. It's just a different discipline as far as I'm concerned. It's like astrology belongs to astrology and tarot belongs to tarot. And for me, the connection between them is arbitrary. However, I think each one as an individual practice is interesting and fun. So there we have it. So I hope you found this video interesting. Like I said, I like to do videos on different things because it keeps life interesting for me and probably for you too. Okay, friends, until next time, peace, stay well, be kind, and be brave.